I was 27 when this happened, about 2 years ago. It was sometime in late November, one of those dry, cold nights where the air just sits still and everything feels kind of empty. I'd been driving for hours, heading back home after visiting a friend in another state, and I was getting tired enough that I knew I needed to stop soon. That's when I saw this small roadside motel. It wasn't completely run down, but it definitely wasn't somewhere you'd choose unless you had to. The kind of place with flickering lights on the sign, half the letters burnt out, and only a few cars scattered in the parking lot. I pulled in anyway. Inside it was quiet. Too quiet. The guy at the front desk barely looked up when I walked in. He just handed me a key after I paid. Didn't say much beyond telling me my room number. I remember thinking how weirdly empty the place felt. Like everyone staying there was already asleep or just not around. My room was on the ground floor, facing the road. I parked right in front of it, grabbed my bag, and went inside. The room smelled faintly like cleaning chemicals, but not fresh. More like it had been cleaned earlier that day and left to sit. I locked the door behind me, dropped my stuff, and sat on the edge of the bed for a minute, just listening. It was quiet, but not completely silent. I could hear occasional cars passing on the road, tires on asphalt, fading in and out. Normal. I remember pulling the curtain slightly to check on my car, just out of habit. That's when I noticed someone standing near the edge of the parking lot. At first, I didn't think much of it. Just a guy standing there, kind of off to the side near the road. But what felt off was how still he was. He wasn't on his phone, not smoking, not moving around, just standing there, facing in my direction. I figured maybe he was waiting for someone. I let the curtain fall back into place and tried to ignore it. I turned on the TV for background noise, scrolled on my phone for a bit, but I kept thinking about that guy. It was one of those things where you don't want to look again, but you feel like you have to. So I checked again. He was closer. Not right outside my room, but definitely closer than before. Maybe halfway across the parking lot now. Same posture, same stillness. That's when it started to feel off. I remember thinking maybe he was just walking slowly. Maybe I just didn't notice him moving, but something about it didn't add up. It hadn't even been that long. I stood there for a second, just watching through the gap in the curtain. He didn't move at all while I was looking. After a few seconds, I stepped back and closed the curtain completely this time. I locked the door again, even though it was already locked, and checked the latch. Then I checked the small window near the bathroom, made sure that was locked too. I told myself I was overthinking it, but I couldn't shake the feeling. A few minutes later, I heard something outside. Not loud, just a faint crunch of gravel. Right outside my door. I froze. I didn't move toward the door, didn't make a sound. I just stood there, listening. Nothing happened for a few seconds. Then I heard it again. A slight shift, like someone adjusting their weight. That's when I slowly walked over and looked through the peephole. At first, I didn't see anything. Just the dim light from outside and the empty walkway. Then something moved into frame. An eye. Right up against the peephole from the outside, I jumped back instantly. My heart was pounding so hard, it felt like I could hear it. Whoever it was, they were looking in. Not knocking, not saying anything, just watching. I didn't know what to do. I grabbed my phone and stood there, staring at the door, waiting for something else to happen. But it stayed silent. After maybe 20 or 30 seconds, I heard footsteps walking away slowly across the gravel. I went back to the peephole, but this time I stayed a few steps back, just trying to catch a glimpse from an angle. I saw him again. Same guy, walking away from my door, heading back toward the road. That should have been the end of it, but it wasn't, because when he got near the edge of the parking lot again, he stopped and turned around, facing my room. That's when I realized something that made it worse. He wasn't just randomly walking around. He knew which room I was in. I didn't sleep after that. I sat on the bed with the lights off, just listening. Every little sound felt amplified. Cars passing, distant doors closing, even the hum of the air conditioning. At some point, maybe an hour later, I heard something again. This time, it was softer. A faint tapping. On the window. Not the door, the window. I slowly turned my head toward it. The curtain was still closed, but I could see a slight movement through it, like a shadow shifting. The tapping came again. 3 slow taps. I didn't go near it. I just sat there completely still, barely breathing. Then, silence. A long, heavy silence. Eventually, I heard footsteps again, moving away. That was it for me. I grabbed my keys, my bag, and decided I was leaving. I didn't care how tired I was. I turned off the TV, opened the door as quietly as I could, and stepped out. The parking lot looked empty. Too empty. I walked quickly to my car, trying not to look around too much, unlocked it, and got in. As I started the engine, I finally glanced toward the road, and I saw him, standing there again. But this time, he was closer to the entrance, watching me. I didn't wait. I pulled out immediately, tires crunching over the gravel, and drove off. As I passed him, I couldn't help but look. He didn't move, didn't react. Just watched my car go by. I drove for at least another hour before stopping anywhere else. The next morning, after I'd calmed down a bit, I checked my car. That's when I noticed something I hadn't seen the night before. There was a small piece of paper tucked under my windshield wiper. It wasn't there when I arrived. I picked it up. It was blank on one side. On the other side, there was just one thing written. My room number, nothing else. No explanation, just the number. I was 24 when this happened, about 2 years ago. It was during the dry season, so even at night the air was warm, with this dusty breeze that made everything look slightly hazy under streetlights. I'd just finished a late shift and was driving home along a long, empty road outside town. It's the kind of road you don't think about anymore once you've used it enough. Long stretches of darkness and a flicker of light, then darkness again. I had my window slightly down, music playing low. Just trying to stay awake, about 10 minutes into the drive, I noticed headlights behind me. At first, I didn't think anything of it, but after a while, I realized they weren't moving, not getting closer, not falling back, just staying there. I checked my mirror again, trying to make out the car. Still there, same distance, so I slowed down a little top. They slowed too. That's when that quiet feeling started to creep in. Not panic, just awareness. I sped up slightly. They matched it, exactly. No high beams, no horn, no attempt to pass. Just following. I reached over and turned the music off. The silence made everything feel worse. A minute or two later, the car behind me shifted slightly to the side of the lane. Just enough for me to catch a better angle in my side mirror. Dark SUV, older model I think. But the windshield, it was too dark to see through. Then it moved back again, like it didn't want me to look too long. That's when I decided to test it. There's a small pull-off spot along that road. I've used it before. I slowed down early, put my indicator on, and pulled over. The SUV slowed too. But it didn't pass me. It stopped, right behind me. For a few seconds, nothing happened. My engine was still running. My hands were on the wheel, but I wasn't moving. Their headlights filled my entire car, making it impossible to see anything behind me. I remember thinking, maybe they think I need help, but then their headlights shut off instantly. The road went completely dark, and that's when I knew something was wrong. I checked my mirror, but I couldn't see anything anymore, just a vague outline where the SUV had been. Then I heard it. A car door opening, slow, deliberate. I locked my doors immediately, my fingers fumbling a little, and I didn't wait. I pulled back onto the road fast for a second. I actually thought I'd gotten away. Then the headlights came back on, closer this time, way closer. I pressed harder on the gas, my hands tightening around the wheel. The road ahead curved into a darker stretch, where even the few streetlights disappeared. That's when I saw something lying across the road. At first, it looked like random junk, but as I got closer, I realized it wasn't random. Long, thin objects, spread out unevenly across my lane. Placed there, not enough to fully block the road, just enough to make you slow down. My chest tightened immediately. I checked my mirror. The SUV was still right there. I didn't slow down as much as I should have. I swerved slightly, trying to avoid the bigger pieces, but I still hit something. A loud, sharp crack echoed under the car. I kept driving. 5 seconds later, a warning light came on. Tire pressure. And almost instantly I felt it. The car dragging, pulling to one side. I knew I wasn't going to make it far. I looked in the mirror again. The SUV's headlights flickered once, then turned off. That scared me more than anything, because now I had no idea where they were. I drove for maybe 30 seconds before the car became impossible to control. I had no choice but to slow down and pull off to the side. The moment I stopped, I grabbed my phone. No signal, nothing. I stared at it for a second longer than I should have, like it might magically fix itself. Then I heard it. Footsteps behind me. Slow, measured. Not running, not rushing, just walking. I locked the doors again, even though they were already locked. My breathing got shallow, fast. I forced myself to look in the side mirror. At first I saw nothing. Then movement. A figure stepping into the faint light. Tall, wearing dark clothing, I couldn't see a face. Just the outline. They weren't hurrying. They were walking straight toward my car like they already knew. I wasn't going anywhere. That's when it clicked. The pacing, the stopping, the things in the road. This wasn't random. They set this up. I didn't wait. I threw the car into drive and slammed the gas. The tire made this horrible grinding sound, like metal dragging on concrete, but the car moved barely. I didn't care. I just needed distance in the mirror. I saw the figure stop. They didn't chase me. They didn't run. They just stood there watching. That part still bothers me, because it felt like they knew something I didn't. I drove like that for what felt like forever, until I finally saw lights ahead. A small roadside shop that sometimes stays open late. I pulled in too fast, almost losing control. There were people outside talking, laughing, normal. I got out and told them someone had been following me. A couple of them went to check the road. Nothing, no SUV, no headlights, no person, like it had never been there. When we checked my tire, it wasn't, just damaged. It had multiple clean punctures, like something sharp had been placed exactly where my tire would hit. Not random, not accidental. The next morning, I went back with a friend. In daylight, everything looked normal. Too normal. We found the exact spot where it happened. The road was completely clear. No debris, nothing. But a few meters off the road, in the bushes, we saw footprints, more than one set, and marks in the dirt, like something had been dragged, covered up, hidden. I didn't go closer. I didn't want to know, because the part one can't stop thinking about is this. When I drove away, they didn't try to stop me. They didn't chase me. They just stood there watching like they were expecting someone else wouldn't get away.